Welcome to Mission Control, Episode 2, the Reactive Response Dilemma. Retail businesses often face challenges due to seasonal shifts, where equipment failures can often go unnoticed. Take, for example, the summer season, where during the beginning of the season, a lot of retail companies and chains are overwhelmed with requests from all their stores nationwide, where there may be malfunctioning cooling systems. This typically happens because those devices and stores don't need to cool during the colder months. However, their cooling equipment may have failed without the stores realizing. With our functional testing tool, you can actually proactively test your stores and get ahead of this by making service calls in a way that aren't responsive to crises and are more proactive than reactive. Looking at CodeOS, here I am at my retail client and retail homepage. I can see all my stores on the dashboard right here. Jumping into the FDT tool, I'm taken to the functional testing tool module itself. What the functional testing tool actually does is it has this logic engine that allows you to create these testing scripts for your equipment. You can write to your equipment certain commands and then verify from sensor readings whether your equipment is functioning properly. So for example, you can induce cooling in your device, in this case this RTU, and then see if your RTU is actually cooling based on its discharge air temperature. You can apply these tests across a store or schedule it across your entire fleet at seasonal, monthly, or even other on-demand sort of schedules. Looking at an example store result right here, I click on this store that actually has some failed FTT tests, and I can see what kind of test I ran on it in the past. It looks like I ran this cooling test that we're talking about here today. Going down, I can see the exact results of these tests, and clicking into one of the examples that failed, I can look into why this RTU in the store failed this cooling test. So here, jumping into it, I could see that I was able to induce cooling mode for this rooftop unit. So I actually changed all the set points to make the rooftop feel like it needs to cool. I then was able to successfully validate that the cooling stages turned on. So both the cooling stages for this rooftop unit showed a status of on. However, at the point of validating from the discharge air temperature whether the cooling stages were functioning, I saw that the current discharge air temperature at the point in time of the test was higher than its requirement. If you have both the stages on, it should be cooling much lower than 60 degrees. And however, it failed to do so, so I scored this device not 100%. Looking at when this test was ran, you can actually see that this test was ran in March. So for this store, we were able to run this test across all the equipment. The test took just 9 minutes to run, and now I can get ahead of this rooftop unit and get it serviced before summer actually arrives. Additionally, you can also impact your retail operations ahead of time using our Mass Write tool, where maybe you want to make schedule changes or global set point changes in one go across your global operations, national operations, or even regional operations. So showing an example of that, let's say I want to change my schedules right from the platform. I can go into the Mass Write schedules. I can select all my stores, at least for nation here in this example. I hit apply and all my schedules pop up. Let's say I want to deselect them and I want to focus only on my HVAC schedules as an example. I can go look at them. They'll all show up based on the filter. I can select them, hit continue, and then select the job name. Let's say I call this holiday. And because it's a holiday, it's a special event. So it's not a regular change to the schedules itself. And in the special event, I can add, maybe you want to add multiple holidays, but for this purpose, we're going to only add one. So I'm going to call this holiday 1. And for that, I'm going to select a specific date. Let's call it May 1st. And for that holiday, I want to turn off all my stores. So right here, I'm going to create an all-day event. I'm going to hit next. And then for that same all-day event, I'm going to make sure that my schedule object takes a value of false. That means that on May 1st, if I hit save, all my stores, HVACs will be off for the entire day. Going back right here, we can do the similar operations for your global set points or discharge air temperature set points or anything of that nature using the same workflow. Lastly, if you want to be able to see your history of mass writes, you can do so right from the platform. And for any of those jobs, you can also receive an update on what succeeded and what failed. So right here, for this write where I wrote to 185 stores of schedules, I see that there were a few that failed, and I can even see the reasoning behind why. Whether that's a credential issue or a network issue, and I can then get ahead and troubleshoot these stores and make sure that my mass write is successful throughout. If you would like to learn how to proactively test your stores, find out more at codelabs.com.